Boom, boom, boom.
So how is that Heineken Silver?
I enjoy it. It doesn't taste like a light beer. It
Yeah.
tastes like regular.
You know what I like about it? I like Heineken. Heineken has a unique taste.
Heineken's my Bud Light.
You know,
Without the
Without the weird.
Dylan. You know, I told you this when my son was
About the
over
Muppet
in Germany or wherever the hell that's from. Holland. He was over there, and the locals were like, "What kind of beer do you like?" He's like, "Well, I like Heineken." They laughed at him. They're like, "Well, that's the crap beer. It's crappy beer."
How many times do we hear that though? Same thing with Mexico. What do you
Right.
guys? What do you guys drink in the United States? Oh, we drink what's the
Dos Equis.
no
Tecate.
Corona.
Tecate.
Corona. And then people in Mexico are like, Corona is the shit beer.
Correct.
I went to the Heineken brewery when I was in Amsterdam back in 2007.
Wow. So, we have our second half of the podcast, September 19th. Obviously, you guys have heard the intro. Folks speaking. We got some guest here. We've got our podcast working hard. Hypothetically, welcome to the second half of the podcast.
hypothetically.
Hey,
We're a little
I'm not doing
seasoned,
shit.
I am. Yeah, so we got to. We're talking about the bourbon right now, but dudes like us, I'm Sean.
I'm Paul.
I am Jeff.
And I'm Ryan.
Ryan.
What the hell was that?
That was Ryan.
No, that was not. That was you saying I'm Ryan
That
mid burp.
Some sort of mating call.
Well, my nipples did get hard a little bit, so it did work. I was just
Awesome.
I'm so curious now.
Bring it.
It was so throaty the way you said my voice.
Jeez.
Well, you know, we have a lot of topics to get through, so we got the list, and it is just rich. You know, well, let's tell you what. I don't want to like beat the shit out of politics, but I will talk about some things kind of funny, silly regarding politics and going into the Senate. So, look, let's say you get a job, dress for success. You hear about that, right? Guess what? If you if you got a good job, dress for success.
For sure.
Meaning, don't show up with a tank top and sports shorts.
Oh, with Fetterman attire,
Oh, jeez, what is going on? With
I don't
that?
understand how he
cargo
gets
shorts, and fucking
hoodies.
Dickies shirts.
Hi
hoodies.
guys, this is the only thing that.
Why
fits
does he
me.
get an exception for this?
I don't know.
Because he's
he's
fucking
retarded.
brain damaged.
Yeah, he's
I don't give a
retarded.
shit. Put
But
a suit on.
here's the thing. When you think about government institutions that are like highly respected,
The Senate.
It's
Yeah.
got to be right there at the top.
Absolutely.
And
They were
he,
giving
and he
somebody
shows up
shit.
in shorts.
Omar Elon, well, they were giving her shit about wearing her headdress, you know, and all of a sudden she was like, "Fuck it, I'm wearing it because you know what? It's part of my culture and it's my
Her hijab.
and she is wearing it.
Well, I
Okay,
mean-
and I accept that, but
I
Dress
accept
for
that
success.
more than Fetterman's
absolutely,
attire.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely, because
Correct.
Like
that
if
isn't.
that's what she wants to wear, then I'm okay with that. But Fetterman coming in like ankle
fucking
socks,
hoodie?
sneakers, a hoodie, and cargo shorts, like what the f?
Yeah, because her cultural dress is not disrespectful. Like
Absolutely.
it
And the
can be
hijab-
very classy,
and the hijab
Absolutely.
can
and
be
in their
very
country
formal.
and their culture, it's dressing up.
100%.
Fine. But
So,
the Fetterman
yeah.
thing, I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I don't understand how he
It's
got
because he's a
elected
man
for
of the
one thing.
people and he wants to dress
first
like
of all,
the people.
So
the
according to-
Senate dress the for many people in the Capitol, the staff, the
And
the
guests.
aides,
Guests,
the
yep.
the clerks,
The Gades?
they have a strict dress code that apply.
Oh, yeah.
Strict dress code that apply. But if you're in the Senate, then
Well,
Hogwash.
so it's always been a strict. Everybody wears suit and ties. Everybody like dresses up, all that kind of stuff. And then Schumer over the weekend, quietly over the weekend, right when there was no news and all that kind of shit, right, like the Friday afternoon news drop, he changed the rules, and he did it for Fetterman. It makes
Does
no
he
sense.
not know how to put a suit on?
he doesn't know how to dress himself.
It doesn't
yeah.
make any sense at all.
Well, that's where the wife comes up and lays it out every morning. Here you go, sir.
But
Right.
he still has
Put
to
it on.
put it on.
Is that like Arnold Schwarzenegger's
I don't give a
maid
shit.
kind of wife? Or-
He
If you
can't use
can't-
buttons anymore. That's what it is.
oh, even the
I
snap
need
ones.
I need a T-shirt and a zipper because I
get
can't button
Velcro.
buttons.
Oh, he needs Velcro.
They just
yeah.
get Velcro.
the old school '80s ruse shoes. Remember those? The ruse with the Velcro in the pocket on the side.
I mean, guys, just being honest, when you see pictures of him in the Senate, he looks like a fool.
Yeah. Did you see that new mustache he's sporting?
He
Yeah,
looks
I
like Breaking
saw it.
Bad guy.
Fucking
Chester the
he
molester.
looks like a young Buddy Epson. He's just
It's just sad. I mean, because he is cheapening and watering down and disrespecting the
That
Senate.
one right there.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at this. Hey, he's wearing like what is that? Like a black Dickies collared shirt, button up.
No, he's
Oh
wearing
no,
a-
he's got his
wearing a hoodie
right there.
like he normally is.
You know what? Whatever. I don't care. At the end of the day,
I
I
do.
don't give a fuck.
I do
but
care.
you know what? It's about respect for the
institution.
Where you're at. I mean, look, if I were to show up at a job where I'm at and I didn't wear appropriate attire, they'd call me out. They'd be like, "Hey, dude, you can't wear that.
Right.
You need to be professional."
Right. Imagine
You need
me
to be
showing up.
professional.
It depends on where you work, but yes, absolutely. You work
You
at
need
a
to be
higher tier
professional.
area. You got to dress
Yep.
professional.
Imagine me showing up in New York City for a high-profile client meeting in the Rockefeller Center, and I'm wearing that. I'm wearing
Yeah.
a fucking hoodie and shorts.
yeah.
I would be told.
Can you still just go, hey, this is good enough for the Senate these days?
Yeah, I
What
would.
kind of
I guess
lowers
I
the
would
bar
say
for
that.
the Senate? It's
Again,
kinda like, all
I
right,
don't
well,
think he can. I don't think he has the dexterity in his fingers anymore. To button up a shirt.
He just does slip-ons.
I really think
and-
that's what it is. I know it sounds stupid, but
It makes no sense.
yeah.
Man,
Anyway,
he was
so
a
the
very
reactions
large
to it.
man back in the day.
Right. And so there was a
Jeez.
reaction to this, right? I know Marjorie Taylor Greene. She said some pretty well, she's always saying inflammatory things, right? I mean,
I heard that.
Yeah, she's always over the top. But so what did she say? She was dogging him for basically
Did you just shit
watering
yourself?
down.
No, I made a grunt noise when he said Marjorie Taylor
Oh, I
Greene.
thought-
I went.
the vibration over there.
Oh.
Because you're not a fan. Not a
No,
fan.
I'm not a fan.
No, I'm not either because
You're not a fan of
she's
Very
Marjorie?
repulsive.
yeah. It's just a human as a human.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care about your political affiliation, right, left, whatever.
Yeah, I'm same way. Don't care.
But don't be repulsive, right?
If see, my entire thing is just like, and we've talked about this before. I think the last time I was on here, when we were talking about Trump, if you're being Trump, be presidential. I believe a president should be presidential.
I agree.
I think a congressman should be
Congressmental.
Yeah, sure. It's
Con-
a made up word, but that's
Congressmental. I like that.
Mental.
But I mean, like there's a certain way of communication that you have to have. You have to have respect for other people. You have to. You
There
just can't.
is a-
It's repulsive.
There is a standard.
Yes.
This goes back to the dress
Yeah.
code.
Yeah.
There is a standard, an expectation of a standard, very high standard, to be a part of that institution.
I agree.
And the respect needs to be it's got to be reciprocal. I mean, everyone there's got
Everyone
to be on
there
the same page.
should be civil.
Right.
Should be adults.
Well, it used to
should
be.
be
I
able
don't know
to-
I don't know if they still do this, but it used to be my friend
Yes.
on this side or my friend on that. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Do they still
You're
say
100%
that?
correct. Yes. If you're a Republican and you're referring to somebody on the Democrat side, you say my friend, the Democrat, and they don't do it. There's no
Yeah.
civility.
Yeah. Now it's
yeah.
it's the prick from Carolina and the slut from Dakota.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I heard you say, but I agree.
Verbatim.
We used to be civil, and I think we talked about that before. Like
And
the,
tin
between
can
left and right.
Fetterman. Tin can Fetterman.
Oh, Jesus, man, I feel bad for the guy
Oh, I mean,
because I feel like he's being taken advantage of too.
Well, just like Biden, I think Biden's being taken
But
advantage
they
of.
they needed
agree.
somebody to fill that Democrat ticket, so they were just like, "Fuck it, dude. You know what? You're going to get sympathy points to see what that thing is." I cannot believe who did he roll against. Like the doc was it Dr.
Oz. He
was
was not a
Dr.
very
Oz?
good. He
Dr.
was
Oz.
not
Jesus
good.
Christ,
He was
dude.
not a good.
He was
candidate.
talking about his accoutrement and is like,
Yeah,
I'm
like
sorry.
dinner parties.
I'm sorry.
At
his
least
what?
he's present.
his accoutrement.
So, but I mean, like, was it Dianne Feinstein? Like,
Diane Feinstein.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
She's
another one.
already dead. I mean, she's alive.
there. I
but
mean,
she's been in hospice for 5 years.
they were entertaining the idea of like, well, if she dies, well, maybe her daughter can just take her place. Hold up,
No.
does that need to be an elected official?
Correct.
Who elected the daughter?
Well, until the next election. So if somebody dies in office, yes,
She
somebody
needs
is
to be
No,
appointed.
the governor.
But the governor,
appoints.
exactly, the governor appoints the.
Yeah,
governor appoints.
somebody is appointed to finish the term, and then there's a special election.
If
blah,
he
blah,
appoints the daughter, then he
They were-
appoints the daughter.
They had her on video the other day where somebody was telling her how to vote. No, you have to vote this,
blah. Right.
and she goes, "Oh, okay."
Unbelievable.
Say
Well, I mean,
yes.
what is-
Say
Old
yes.
Crow Hayes
What-
was like,
So what did Nikki Haley call the Congress? She called it the luxury nursing
The old
home.
folks only, yeah.
Yeah.
well,
like-
Mitch McConnell, I think, is another one. The
oh,
turtle.
he's freezing up.
He needs to go as well.
Yeah, he's going.
After he froze up, he was like, "I'm fine. I'm fine.
Well,
Like, that's the
yeah,
only
but he
thing
was
could say
staring
was,
off
"I'm
into
fine."
space.
First off,
What's happened twice?
First off, he's droning on. That's why we need
Oh,
to pass legislation that is good for the country.
And I love how they have
like
the
somebody-
Windows, the startup Windows noise and the
Ding,
closeout
ding,
Windows
ding.
noise. He's like,
The little buffering signal going
Right?
round and round and around.
and then the lady steps
Buffering.
in. She's kind of like, Congressman or Senator, did you hear the question?
Right, and then they,
Yes,
and then
I
they,
did. I heard
and
the
then they're like,
question.
we
I like bread.
we have a evac
like
code one,
cheese.
evac code one, and then they like walk him away.
That's what they're doing with
This
Biden.
way. This way. Walk this way.
Well, that's what they
Don't
do
say
with
another
Biden
word.
as
I need
well,
some
right?
I know
They
it.
direct him. Remember the whole Easter Bunny thing, where the Easter Bunny had to come save him from questions?
Yes,
You remember that?
yes, I do.
That was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
Did you watch his UN speech today?
Oh, God.
No,
I did
hell
not. I
no.
did not.
I watched
missed
the
it.
whole thing.
Did you
and-
really?
Yes.
How
And?
scary was it?
It was a train wreck.
Really?
I mean, he didn't fumble that much, but what he said. Why are you bringing up LGBTQ, ABCD, elemental P in fucking the UN? Why do you have?
How is that a priority right now?
Why do you have that in the UN?
It's not a priority.
He's saying that he basically said that
Because the
we
UN
need-
doesn't give a shit about that.
Yeah, they don't.
No,
No,
they don't.
one gives a shit about that. Actually, that I don't mean that in a negative way. We don't care about.
it's not
Hold
a
on.
legislative priority.
It's not. Look, it has nothing to
Exactly.
do with sexuality. Has nothing to do with the way we govern
Politics.
things.
That's right. It is not a legislative priority.
Dude, you suck dick or you don't. Just keep, it's personal. You do that on your own time. I don't need to know. I don't need to know.
I get it.
Did
I
you
don't even know.
guys
I don't
see
wanna
the
know.
footage of the church here in Dallas that I sent you?
I
church?
started watching it. It was painful.
Oh, it was too painful. I turned it off. I saw them
they
like
were regurgitating a
"Oh,
pledge with a
we're
bunch of
gonna-
drag queens up.
Yes.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Wait,
we're
I
going to
didn't
use
get
a
that.
walrus
What
bone
happened?
tonight.
It was horrendous.
What happened?
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
It's a church here in Dallas. The name of it's in the video, but essentially it's a full church, and they're basically reciting their doctrine or whatever, and basically it's all of it's about inclusion and how we're going to fight the hate and the violence and all that stuff.
They've got a huge rainbow, not a flag, but it's like a banner, like 12 foot
Hey,
tall.
listen,
A
I'm
bunch of
okay with
people
that
dressed
as
up.
long as
No, I'm not.
I'm
Not in church.
I am.
I'm not in church. Church is not a celebration of sexuality. Church is a celebration of spiritual awareness.
Right,
nothing to do
but
with
I don't
sucking
think we
dick.
should exclude people who just because you're gay. Well,
I'm not
because-
saying they can't show up because they suck dick. I'm just saying they can't have the flag back there. That's not a church and gay pride doesn't mix. It's not the same thing.
I get it, but there's all sorts of kinds of churches, and I think here's my opinion: as long as you're not hurting somebody mentally or physically,
You know what? I disagree.
we have a freedom of religion. It's one of our given rights from our founding fathers, and we all don't have to pray the same. And
I
if they
agree.
feel included in that, or maybe they felt excluded in other places, but the only problem I have is when it comes to something like that is when you force that opinion down somebody else's throat.
Correct.
And
As
that's what
long
they're
as
doing.
you're on your own time and you have your own congregation and everybody is gelling together, those people feel safe there. I'm okay with that. I just don't want them to exude that ideology on me forcefully.
Well, they're taking
That's
that
my thing.
ideology and they're bringing it to the schools, doing story time dressed up as trans. And again, I don't
but
care.
is that church doing that, or is
No,
that just
they're
the
not. No,
ideology?
it's not.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
but when you start talking about these things, you start making these correlations. You start like connecting dots between it, and it's just like this programming method. So I'm not against it. I agree with you 100%, 99% about the church thing and having them. When I say them, I'm
if
talking
I'm
about
gay,
the
I
gay
shouldn't be
community.
excluded. I shouldn't
Period.
be excluded from
But-
worshiping just because
Oh,
I'm
of
gay.
course not.
But it's
Of course
not
not.
about the worship. It's about the ambiance of the worship. It's just like they've taken worship and the celebration of God, and they've turned it into
Well, I mean,
disco
does their
ball.
crucifix have like Jesus with a rainbow instead of a thorn crown, or like
The
like,
big backdrop was like a 15-foot tall banner of a man. Look, and it sounds shitty because I don't want to throw stones at the gay community because I don't care. I have really great friends that are gay, and it doesn't bother me. But what it does bother me is that if you have that life, either a life decision or you're programmed that way, and you choose to float that way, that's you, and that take your spirit and run with it, man. But don't program my kids. Don't program my lifestyle. Don't program my community. Program and keep your shit with I mean, I don't flaunt my sexuality on you. Don't flaunt your sexuality
Fair
on
enough,
me.
but are your kids going to that church?
Do I have straight flags at regular churches?
Agreed. There's no American flags that I know of that are in churches. I get it.
That's a great point right there.
There's no American flags in great. There's no Texas flags.
I mean, the focus in a church, the focus should be on
it should be
about
God,
God.
religion,
Spiritual health.
Yeah, the putting a
I'm
flag
just saying
inside
it's
of a religious
inappropriate.
building. I get what you're saying in that,
And
I
that's
do.
really it. That's really it. It's the common thing, and that looks so. The video that they showed was so creepy.
it was culty.
It was
Yeah,
very
it's just
culty.
like-
I didn't
Come on,
see it,
man.
so fair enough. I don't know. I'm just kind of expressing how I feel.
See, here's the thing.
Here, take a look at it. I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah,
I get it.
it's-
And it's not just a flag. That's like a huge. That thing looks like it's like 10 feet wide.
Yeah, it's like something you'd see on the side of a
15
building.
feet wide.
So
Yeah.
let me dive into this. All right. So a big part of the message of Jesus is to look out for the people who are marginalized.
Yes.
Okay, that's huge. Marginalized is across the board. Poor people, people who come from poor countries, all this kind of stuff. Marginalized people. Okay, but it doesn't mean that we change the message, the delivery of the message, the focus. It doesn't change for any particular type of marginalized person. Right? Everybody's welcome.
Love your brothers and sisters.
Yes. There
Love
you
your
go.
brothers and sisters.
There you go.
But they didn't say trees. They didn't say dogs. They didn't say cats.
No,
Brothers and sisters, male and female.
So earlier in the
You
last,
don't get
I
it?
see you're going
so
with that.
earlier in the last podcast, Sean, you were talking about
skulls?
your issue with there being what is it, scholarships for colored people.
Yeah.
So let me say
Yeah.
something about that. So again, that is, we live in this culture of helping out people that society thinks is marginalized. Okay, and we want to create opportunities for them because for some reason,
Yeah, but
whether
who has
it was the color of
the
their skin,
balls to
whether
do that?
well, hold on, whether it was the color of their skin, whether it was what country they came from, whether it was they were born into poverty, whatever color you are. I mean, there are different things that create less opportunities for you, and then there's not equity, and so the mentality is, okay, let's work together to create opportunities for people who are marginalized. I don't care who they are.
I think if you look at that, I think it needs to be looked at class level instead of race level.
Yeah, I
agree.
We
Because
need to
there-
get away from skin color.
Be correct, because there
And
are
sexuality. You're male or female.
Yes.
there
I agree.
are just as many, if not more, poor white folk than there are poor black folk.
Yes, when you look at it just generally marginalized.
That's what kind of that's what really struck a nerve. I was kind of like, you know what, man? There are tons and tons and tons of poor white people out there.
there are way more because
Well, yeah, and
Just-
that's what I was going to
just
say. I was going
numbers,
to say,
just
like, if you
numbers.
look at numbers, there's more white people in America than there is in
a lot more. Yes,
and that also means there's more white poor people.
that's right.
Correct.
Yes, a lot more.
So
But
to
the-
me,
Yeah,
it's
and you have this
racist.
handful of people that achieve this like super high, you call it what you will, 1% status or whatever, or higher tiered living status. But the more population that you have that is quote unquote your race, the more the bottom end there's going to be. And so that means that technically, I mean, there's more poor white people
Yes.
than
Correct.
there are
And so-
any other
And
poor
here's
race
the thing:
in-
this has become a social construct,
in
right?
America.
I mean, think about how many generations of poor white people in the same family have never gone to college.
Right.
Never.
Because they're so busy working blue collar jobs.
That's right. And then you hear about, they're the first person, this son who's the third son of the fifth generation was the first kid to
got
go to
an
college.
opportunity to spend
Right.
$150,000 to get a degree.
Well, look at the whole area of Appalachia,
Right.
Exactly.
Kentucky, Western Kentucky, Western Tennessee, Eastern Virginia, West Virginia.
Absolutely.
extremely poor, extremely.
I mean, college really on
off.
their radar?
Literally coal miner daughter stuff.
Correct.
And we talk about college. I took a sociology of Appalachia class in college, and it dug into the mindset of these people who never leave. They don't know what's outside, and they're not uncomfortable. They are in these little
They're terrified to
towns.
leave their small town.
Correct. You have the exceptions who break out, right? But those communities are closed, and you don't leave.
And nobody comes into those communities unless
Right.
they're born into those
That's right.
communities.
Right.
That's right. And guess what? That is a marginalized segment
100%.
of society. And guess what? Those people would benefit immensely from a bourbon making scholarship that gives them an opportunity to do something that something hasn't happened in their family for generations.
Especially if they have like decades of inbred learning on
Seriously.
making bourbon.
Oh, yes.
That's true too.
You know, I can't count to 5, but I can make the sweetest bourbon you've ever had.
It's just in the genes.
I just wish this country could take a step back and look at. That's where we talk about merit. We talk about merit. So let 150 people apply for the scholarship. Look at their backgrounds
and
look at the
hire
history.
the best 20.
And don't look at color of their skin. Look completely at what they've done to get here and how badly they want it.
Yeah.
Right?
You would think.
Anyway, and I just wanted
Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
to put a stamp on that because, and remember, this bourbon company, right, Pinhook, they're thinking they're trying to make a difference. They're not evil. They're not bigoted. They're not any of these things that are like they're not woke. They're not even woke.
Yeah,
They're
look,
simply.
I wasn't throwing stones at
No,
it.
no, I know you are. I'm not criticizing you at all. I'm trying to kind of capture the narrative, right? I mean, they're simply trying to make a difference for a marginalized community, but I think it's too narrow. It's too narrow.
They think they're doing the right thing.
They do. And that
I
church.
disagree.
And that church.
No, I didn't say they are doing the right thing. I said they
think
Yeah.
they're doing
And
the
they
right
could
thing.
be
I
going
don't
to
think
Guys,
and
that's
they-
huge.
I think they know what they're doing.
And they could be trying to get those
Disagree.
ESG checkpoint.
Oh well, that's
That's
a whole.
possibility
check.
too.
You know what? You raise a great point. They might try to be getting bonus points because that's what society wants them to do,
Yeah.
Correct.
and that's bullshit. Yes.
Well,
Well-
they wouldn't limit it to just colored people. Don't, you know what?
No, that checks a
And
box.
guys, but we're seeing that across the board. This whole, non-colored people need not apply
Oh, yeah.
for different jobs and stuff.
Well, I mean, like, look at like I think it was Continental Airlines. I'm not gonna say Continental. I'm gonna say it was because I don't know for sure. It was one of the major airlines made a comment the other day that they said that they were going to start hiring more diverse races for pilots.
Correct.
And even like this black community, because he was cracking up. I can't remember which one who said it. I think maybe no. I wanted to say Brian Simpson because he's fucking hilarious. But anyways, the comedian was saying, I don't care what color my pilot is as long as he knows how to fly the fucking plane.
No shit.
Yeah, get me home.
Yeah, exactly.
Get me home
he's
safe.
like, if one color pilot flies the plane better than the other color pilot, I want the one who knows how to fly the plane better.
That's kind of like our vice presidency. I want the best person for the job. I don't want them to check a box and float some bimbo up in there just because it fulfills some.
Well, the whole
I agree.
Don't get me
the whole
started on that.
administration is about checking boxes.
Absolutely. 100%.
Look at some of these appointments. Look at Corinne Jean-Pierre. She checks boxes. How many times do they say she's the first black lesbian, whatever she is,
Oh,
speaker?
good for her. Then.
She just locks up and goes,
Press secretary.
"We're done," and walks away
Yeah.
because she's.
Oh,
She doesn't know how to answer it.
hey guys.
Listen.
I
she
would
just,
too if I were her.
Let me
I'm
ask you
not
a
saying
question.
she's not
Let
qualified
Paul
for that
ask you a
position.
question.
No,
Let me
she's
ask you a
not.
question. Would you want that job?
Not working.
Oh,
on
hell
it.
no.
Oh my God.
Hell no.
Talk
Dude, I
about-
would never want to be the president. Anybody that would want to be the president has to be mentally ill.
Just think about this. The press secretary for Joe Biden. Imagine. Talk about being set up for failure.
She gets paid
100%
She gets paid $180,000 a year. You think that's
to
worth
make
it?
excuses.
$180,000 a year.
Well, she doesn't have to
On
make
that
them.
topic-
They're already preconditioned.
On that topic, did you hear what Fauci makes? or made right before.
He's the highest.
It was like $380,000 or something like that.
Okay, but do you know what they were worth? He and his wife were worth when he retired from the government.
No.
$11 million.
Well, it's because on top of his government
That's it?
salary, which he is the highest paid
He was.
government employee at that level, on top of that, he was getting kickbacks from all the pharmaceutical companies.
I know.
I am certain he made more money.
He
than
was
that.
pushing.
$11 million that's a lot.
I'm sure he has access.
I mean,
to
he
money.
went from back in the 80s saying, hey, once you get the flu, you don't have to get the flu shot.
Yeah, you don't have to get the
because
flu shot.
And then, like, let's
Getting the
fast
flu
forward
is
to
the
like
best vaccine that you can get.
2020. And he goes, oh, no, we need all these boosters, even if you've had it. I'm like, well, that contradicts what you said like 30 years ago.
I know. But he'll say the science has evolved.
Well, that's
Yes.
because there's a paycheck behind that comment.
Right.
Like every time he says mask or booster, he gets a fucking six figures at the very minimum.
Although, did you see that India is going through a new pandemic? Not pandemic, or just a breakout of a different virus.
Of the what virus?
It's the Nendi virus.
No.
And it's killing a bunch of folks, and they're actually shutting down regions of India right now.
Oh, shit.
Well, that's what happens when you shit everywhere
have
and your
3 billion
rivers
people.
are so extremely polluted that there's like 4 inches of toxic foam on top of them. And you daily have to listen to the radio and TV to find out if you can walk outside because the air is so toxic
Yeah.
that it can melt your fucking skin.
Well, that
Yeah.
sounds exciting. Let's go visit India.
Like, have you guys heard that?
Are you part of their tourism
Right.
department?
No. Well, not anymore. After that comment, I'm sure I'm fired. No, but like they do. They have like we have like, you know how we have like alerts on our cell phones that say, hey, high UV, high pollution in Dallas and stuff like that.
Yes.
They have the same thing over there. And
Except it's toxic
acid.
foam.
it's toxic air. Like it's air. They're like,
Don't go outside.
close
today.
your windows, seal your doors. Don't go out today. The river has like 6 inches of toxic industrial fucking chemical foam on top of it. Don't drink out of the river today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's okay, but not today.
Yeah.
It needs to go downstream to the next city.
Yeah. Or the next country.
Myanmar,
You know what?
Bangladesh.
They're not third world, but they're I guess a lot of the part, a big area of the country is
They're
probably
developing.
third world.
They're developing.
They're
country.
developing. They're developing.
Dude, they just put something on the moon.
Yes.
Right.
India.
I know.
India.
Okay, they have
How awesome is that?
They have
But think about it.
a ton of smart people, man.
Dude, no, there's no denying there are some brilliant motherfuckers in India. They
Yes.
put out some smart it's amazing what happens when you beat your children. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, here's the thing about India. Here's the thing about India. You talk about a divide of poor and not poor.
the classes? Yeah, absolutely.
The classes,
caste system,
but,
right?
Well,
Yeah,
not only
caste.
that, but the people who are poor and not poor, they obsess about education.
Oh yeah, for
They
sure.
obsess about education. Everybody gets like a master's
Dude, one of my
And
friends
then-
in Austin,
over in India.
his dad, who's a surgeon, disowned his son because his son wanted to go to film school. He dropped out of medical school to go to film
Right.
school.
There you go.
Cut him off and disowned him.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So
that's fucked up.
So that's a
because-
very
yeah.
interesting scenario, right? So you got I don't want to say half, I don't know what the percentage is, but you have this large part of the country that is super educated, super driven, super
Focused.
ambitious, and then you have a massive part of the country that is incredibly poor and as third world as you're going to get.
Dude, like eating shit second harvest poor.
Yes, and it is mixed like this. Like it is
Side by side.
people who go there are like, oh wow, 5-star hotel. Oh wow, major resort. Oh, slum from hell, like next door.
Right.
Like no toilets, people shitting on the street and sidewalks.
100%. 100%. So
You know what was crazy
that
I
is
heard?
why they're able to put people on the moon or putting a drone or a rover.
Yeah, exactly.
On the moon.
The smart are super smart. They're well funded. And they like, dude, like the upper class of India, like extremely rich.
Oh, extremely
like,
rich.
Like, yeah,
Right. Crazy.
yeah.
Anyway,
So-
go ahead, Sean.
Well, I was going to bring up, you were talking about a little bit about food for a second. In third world country. I saw a meme today on Instagram about a burger in Africa where they take the carcasses of 500,000 mosquitoes,
Yeah.
and they basically
A burger?
Yeah.
yes,
I saw the
insect-
video.
mosquito burgers.
I saw the
Oh.
video. It was crazy.
The mosquito burger tastes a little like fish, though the texture was similar to that of a fish, but because it's so thick, it is not cooked through. The burger was cooked on the outside. So it's
So basically, like in Africa, they have they have a mosquito season like everywhere else, except like their mosquito season is like they go outside with these big hoops, and they're like nets, and they just basically do like a figure eight through the air, and they try to collect as many mosquitoes as they can, and then they put them in a bowl and they mash them down and they make a burger patty, like
Yeah.
Sean's saying.
high protein,
Yeah,
super
extremely high
I'll
protein.
pass.
Yeah.
Well, but
And
dude,
they cook
when
them on these flat
when you don't
rock
have shit
grills.
to eat,
Malaria.
and it's super
Well,
high
we
protein.
do have stuff to eat, and I know there's a section of the elite who want us to move.
to bugs.
Insects.
Bugs.
Eat
We're
insects.
one of the only countries that don't eat bugs.
I've had bugs.
I ate some this weekend. I went over to Mom and Pop's candy store, and they have
chocolate covered crickets.
nope. They had crickets that weren't chocolate covered, so they had like salt and vinegar, barbecue flavors, sour cream and onion. And first of all, it was just like 8 crickets for like $4.25.
No, I-
Get out of here!
I used
that-
to get them way cheaper.
You
in
gotta eat like
Juarez.
100 of them.
I get like a fucking a quarter-pound bag in Juarez. Anyways,
But they're
crick-
crunchy, right?
No, crickets are okay. I'm gonna tell you right now, delicious.
Yeah, I've had crickets
Delicious.
or grasshoppers.
If
Hold on.
you could just get past
crickets, like actual crickets.
Yes, if you
Yeah,
could get
well-
past the fact that you're eating a bug,
No fucking
they
way.
taste like.
Well-
you ever have like the chips at the bottom of your bag where they're like kind of like really salty and like crunchy? That's how they are. It's again, you're
So in
you're
Japanese
picturing a bug,
movie theaters,
Yes.
but they are delicious. I'm telling you.
in Japanese movie theaters, instead of selling popcorn, they have crickets. So you go up there, and
I
they
eat it in a heartbeat because
Hold on,
got-
you're talking
they
about
scoop
black
it into
crickets,
the popcorn
that,
bags.
like crickets, like
crickets,
normal
grasshoppers.
crickets.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like they're delicious.
That's disgusting.
well, you say it's disgusting, but they dry them out. You're not eating like
Yeah,
some-
you take the parasitic like stomachs out of them, you dry them out, and then they're just crunchy. They taste like chips,
It's just a
burnt
carapace.
popcorn.
Yeah, I have to get over that. But I will tell you. So I was on my motorcycle ride this morning,
Oh, did you taste some
You
bugs?
ate a few bugs.
and Journey was playing in my
Oh, so you were
in
singing.
my earpods. I was singing.
Oh,
So here I am. Bugs were flying into my mouth.
oh, your boyfriend's name is
They
Bug?
weren't crickets. They weren't caterpillars because I would have like probably wrecked the bike. But it was like
Do caterpillars fly?
little. Did I say?
No,
yeah, no,
not
no.
caterpillars.
Grasshoppers.
Butterfly.
Grasshoppers. Sorry, grasshoppers.
Grasshoppers. All right.
Grasshoppers.
GR ass hoppers.
Dude, there are some big ass grasshoppers out there.
It's a big locust.
Oh my god, it's unbelievable. When it was 106, okay, and then it would cool off, they would flock to the blacktop, and I would follow my buddy, and they would all be jumping, and they're pelting me, pelting my legs, my chest, my face. I'm just like, and they're like 2 inches.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they hurt.
They hurt.
I know. I've been on a motorcycle and I got hit by like I drove through some bees one time, and it was not a pleasurable experience.
Yeah.
It
No,
was-
anyway.
I almost wrecked
Were you
the
going
bike.
10 miles per hour?
No, I was on Montana in El Paso. I was driving out to
About
Waco
35?
Tanks. No, I was on Montana Street going out to Waco Tanks. And yeah, I flew through like a small swarm of bees.
Oh my
And,
god, that'd be a nightmare.
It fucking hurt. Like it felt like I got hit by just like a bunch of paintballs. Like I almost pulled a wheelie on the motorcycle and laid it down because it was so unexpected. And then like one of them was like stuck me like ass, like right here. And it was just like ass first, like still kind of alive, like stuck in me. And it was like, yeah, dude, it fucking sucked.
It's
I'm
funny
not
when
gonna
they say what's the first thing that goes through a bug's mind when it hits the windshield?
It's ass.
Ass.
Yeah, I think
Well,
that's
I can tell you,
hilarious.
I hit that bug ass first, and that bee fucking stuck his ass stinger right in me. It was like stuck; it couldn't get out.
Yeah, well, that was my closest bug eating experience. I just wanted to share that. So
Well,
that-
Yeah, I'm going to draw the line.
Protein's
At,
protein.
I'm going to draw the line at mosquito patties.
yeah, no, I'm not
Agreed.
doing that.
Well, I mean,
What if
there
you
is
smoke
no
it?
food out there,
What if
and
you smoke a
But there is food.
mosquito patty?
maybe sous vide it?
No, there is food.
You can put it in your pellet grill.
Yes. We'll cross that bridge
put it on the green egg.
when the apocalypse comes and we have to eat bugs.
slow cook
And
for
your
9
guests,
hours.
think about your guests. They're like, "Oh, this is amazing. What is it?" Well, I'm glad you like it. It's a Mosquito smoked burger.
Yeah.
And yet we're okay with roadkill.
Right.
Oh, God.
People eat that shit too.
Dude, a lot of people eat roadkill. Up where
Well, that's
my mom's family comes from in Michigan, there are people that turn on their CB radios to listen to police reports and be like, I just hit a deer on highway, blah, blah, blah. And dude, there's like a race to get out there to get that deer.
There are a lot of people out there that drink that will eat roadkill.
Yes.
Oh, well, I mean, if I think about it, if I hit a big deer,
Meat's meat.
I mean,
You want to beat your meat? What'd you say?
Meat is meat.
Well, when you hit a
except it's
deer with a
human.
car, do you traumatize that meat?
traumatized. Make
I don't
it
know.
all,
Does it destroy
make it all?
it?
Yeah, make it all like.
I think
depends on
I
how
think what
fast
it
they
is,
die.
yeah, exactly.
Tenderize
It depends on how fast that car hits them. Because if that deer is just like, the hills are alive with the sound of music, whack,
Oh.
and then it's like ripped in half on the
Yeah.
highway.
Yeah.
Not a lot of stress going into that meat. Not a lot of
I can
adrenaline
hear
going
the
into that
deer
meat.
singing that too with Jeff's little quiver whenever he sings. He's like
Bouncing.
I forget.
That's vibrato.
You know, I think my dad told a story. So my grandfather was a game warden, right? So my father tells a story that when he would drive it along, if somebody hit a pheasant, like a pheasant on the side of the road, oh yeah, he'd suck it up, take it home, that dinner.
It's not uncommon. There's the percentage of Americans that eat roadkill. Producer, can you look this up for me? I think it's a pretty large percentage. I think it's like 20+%.
I mean, rural
of
America.
Americans
Rural
eat,
America.
Roadkill.
40 million squirrels, 26 million cats, 22 million rats, 19 million opossums,
Oh,
15 million. It
gross.
goes on.
Who's eating an opossum?
I'm not eating it.
Everybody
I
in
believe
Georgia.
That was from
They eat
1920.
raccoons. They eat raccoons.
All I'm saying is meat is meat, and if you don't have to spend money on a bullet to eat your meat,
Hey, was there a new episode of Ahsoka coming out tonight? Was that Tuesday?
Tonight.
night?
it is
Tuesdays.
tonight. I'm missing it to be
Hold
here
on.
with you. I
The
just want you to know
Ahsoka?
that.
Not-
Ahsoka.
I don't know what that is.
Tano. Star Wars, Ahsoka Tano.
Oh,
Apprentice of Anakin Anakin Skywalker. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. You guys got me on this whiskey. Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, America Skywalker. Wouldn't that be great?
America Skywalker.
Well, whatever.
I got somebody I work
mean-
with now that talks about like whenever he visits his grandparents to this day, they still eat like roadkill.
Well, you know what? If you're used to doing it, it's not. I mean, it's kind of like. I mean, just like anything. If you like eating the fish out of the ponds here or something,
I was
like
going
that,
to say it's kind of like camping.
It's like hunting or camping.
Hunting
except
or
you're not
camping.
spending money on the ammunition. And think about it, with the price of with the inflation going on right now in America, and the price of food and groceries in general. I know it sounds silly, but do I spend like $20 on a steak, or like, holy shit, look at that fucking possum dead on the side of the road?
I don't
A
know
lot
about
of these
a possum.
people. Well, a lot of these people do. They eat raccoon, they eat possum, they eat squirrel, and all they do, they go up and they smell it. And if it's a fresh kill, it's already gutted pretty much, and so they just pull the fur off and then
Put on a
cook it
stick and eat it.
pretty much.
Put it on a stick and eat it.
And most
Well,
roadkill,
like a
most roadkill is-
s'more.
Like
well,
a s'more.
most roadkill is cooked in stew,
like a walrus bone.
stews with like potatoes, carrot, whatever. They cook it in stew. It's not like they're putting on a flat grill and eating roadkill steaks.
Oh,
I wonder if raccoon is gamey.
I don't know.
I've eaten a lot
Like-
of crazy
like-
shit.
like-
and I've never eaten possum.
Like
raccoon.
imagine going to someone's house and he's like just smoking and grilling and he's just bringing out some stuff and they're like, oh, what is this? Yeah, hey, well, wow, look at what the game's on right now.
I'd
Hey,
eat
that's
it.
my
You know what I
cousin
mean? And
Ben's
you're like,
right.
okay, well, he didn't really answer the question, but okay, I'll eat it. And then you find out later, I ate raccoon, I ate armadillo, I
rabbit.
Hey, and you
I
know what?
ate-
If it was
Did
good-
it taste good?
If it was
exactly.
good,
And
if
we-
it didn't make me
yeah.
sick, I had no problem with it.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
there was a
frogs.
bowl of crickets.
Dude,
had no
I
idea.
fucking love frogs' legs. People
Oh, yeah.
get so grossed out. Frogs'
No,
legs
frog
are
legs are good.
delicious. Yes. And there are people who are just like, hell no.
Yeah.
I
love
think if it's
frog legs.
prepared right, then it's all good. I mean, I love all kinds.
Hell, I won't even eat sour cream.
I like rabbit as well.
I mean, much less.
Hassenpfeffer. I
It
like
depends on
rabbit.
how old the dig is.
God, there's.
Jeez.
Is that freshly whacked?
I tell you what. I tell you what. I would have to be in a dire situation, but I guarantee if I was starving out in some fucking desert somewhere, I'm eating a lizard that I found on the freeway.
I wouldn't even have to be starving.
That's-
You know, it's funny when I first moved to El Paso, and I heard about menudo. I was like, oh my
Menudo.
God, menudo, like cow stomach. That's so awful. And then I heard about
tripe.
barbacoa, and then I heard about lengua. And I was like, oh my God, that's disgusting. And then you eat it,
Oh,
and you're
it's
like,
delicious.
oh my.
Hold on,
God.
barbacoa.
Barbacoa.
Barbacoa
It's the
steak.
face.
Those are cheeks.
It's cheeks.
Carnitas.
It's a cow. It's the
I
face
know,
of the
but
cow.
they sell that. That's like a regular thing.
Well,
Yeah, but some people don't like the
Like a
idea
chi-
eating cow face.
Like
some
it-
people don't like the idea eating cow tongue.
That's at Chipotle.
well, that's not.
No,
Beef-
I don't think
those aren't beef
lengua
cheeks.
is at Chipotle.
I know when I was in Mexico City, they
It is. They call it barbacoa.
that's steak.
No,
The
barbacoa.
Chipotle version is steak. The cheeks that I had when I was down in Mexico City, is they brought in
His name's James.
yes they
Hot cheeks.
they brought in carnitas.
Ooh, that's good.
And he had different things, and one of them
Carnitas.
was beef cheeks
Beef cheeks.
and
That
or
was my nickname.
pork cheeks or whatever it was. And he goes, "What you do is you take some of this, which is dry, and you add the beef cheeks, which is a lot of fat and juice, right? And you
There's a
mix
lot
it,
of fat in barbacoa.
And
yeah.
and you
street
mix
taco?
it, and you eat it. It was absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just better off not knowing.
I'm getting hungry having this conversation.
No.
Well, I got some chicken legs. I cooked like 40 of them.
Did you get them off the road?
I
You sous vide them?
I drove through a farm and just killed them all.
Went through the chicken coop, huh?
Right through the coop.
Yeah.
Fucking, I'm eating tonight.
That wasn't a fox. That was me. I had one.
How'd you cook
Get
them?
as many as you can. Get
Damn
as many
it,
as you
Bubba.
I
can.
just put them in the oven.
Good Lord.
Do you lollipop them?
No, I didn't go through that.
That's a lot of work. I moved
Yeah.
on from lollipopping.
Yeah, I'm done lollipopping too. That was it. But lollipopping was good chicken legs when you trim them up and push that meat down.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's labor intensive.
It
Oh,
was
so
was
much.
very labor intensive.
So I'm having some memory problems, but did we talk about the bourbon we're drinking?
We did not, and I drank mine, and I gotta say, I enjoyed this way better than the first one.
Really?
I know
did.
why.
This
I
one
know
had a
why.
better flavor.
Because it's 92 proof. That's probably why you enjoyed it.
Well, the flavor was different. It didn't have a peppery flavor. It was sweeter.
Of course not.
All right,
When
Jeff.
You add water to it.
All right, Jeff, what is it?
This
Hit it.
is well, we're huge fans of this. This is standard Clyde Mays. This is the standard Clyde Mays straight bourbon whiskey. It's 92 proof, I believe. And this is probably like our second or third bottle of this. We need to buy another one because we just killed it. And
add it to the infinity bottle.
Yeah.
we did. We added some to
Beautiful.
the
Yeah, we ordered it. Actually, it was only 2 ounces, but it was still it
Yeah.
was a good
I'll-
one.
But
I'll
we've
take
got-
it.
Did you guys know the story about Clyde Mays?
I don't think so.
The Clyde Mays was
It was made in Clyde in May.
he was a moonshiner by trade, but a craftsman by heart. He made his famous whiskey in a hand-built copper still with fresh Alabama spring water and the finest local ingredients. The man was locked up for his passion because during the
Prohibition.
the Prohibition. And 8 months in the federal penitentiary, yet he started up those copper stills the day he got out. And this is the product he started because by that point the
They
laws
had
had
reversed
changed.
it. Yeah.
And he's been continuing on. I don't know if he's still alive. I don't. didn't say
Most
anything
likely
about
not.
that.
If he was alive during the Prohibition in jail, that was over 100 years ago.
Yeah, he would be
Or 100 years ago.
141, I think.
And he
So
dies of AIDS. 'cause he's in
The
jail.
straight bourbon honors Clyde Mays. There he goes. Honors Clyde Mays' dedication to the craft. We use simple ingredients as in a patient aging process to produce a fine, easy drinking spirit. And it actually is very easy drinking.
Very easy.
And
to
it's very
drink.
tasteful.
It
It's
is.
got a lot. It's got a lot of
It
flavor.
is. And we've got. I think it's a little contrary to what we say about. We don't want to touch anything 90 proof or whatever, but there's still some thinness to it. I think
It's
but-
great.
but the flavor it's very drinkable. I can sit here and just drink a big old glass of this.
Well, let
Yes.
me ask you a question because you just made a comment. So you said you normally don't drink anything around 90 proof.
No.
We're becoming snobs.
We're becoming snobs, and some of that.
Okay.
Did somebody take a shit?
So no 80 proof?
Thank you, Sean.
So no 80 proof. I don't
Sean's making that look.
Well, I farted, but yeah. Is that what you're saying?
I meant take a shit. That's what I meant.
Well, that would be Jeff.
No, that was not me.
Well, I've lived with
for
him
the
for
love of
48
God.
years, or I've known him for 48 years, and
we-
it hasn't wafted this direction.
Can we make a new rule that there's no shitting in the podcast room?
Especially when the door is
I mean, do
closed
we-
to the
do
room.
we-
Can we,
I didn't
do,
close it.
Mr. Producer, can you
Hands
please
up.
get up and open that door for us?
No, let's keep it closed.
I mean, do we have to make that rule? I thought it would be kind of like an understanding of a humanity rule.
All right, so the
I'm
the
starting
thing
to
about,
taste it now.
Whatever. Come on.
Did someone
horrible.
just shit themselves? Is that what you said?
So Clyde
So
Mays
oaky.
is it's actually easier to drink. So look, the thing about Clyde Mays is that we've had this topic come up before. Mr. Producer, there's a noise going on sometimes. So
Bloom.
there's a
Blum.
every now and
Blum,
then
blum.
the people come up to us and say, hey, well, what kind of bourbon would you suggest that we drink? You know, and I'm like, well, you know, it depends on how much money you want to spend. And I tell you, I would add Clyde Mays
All of them.
to the list to them. I'd say, look, if you have $40, then let's jump on the Clyde Mays bandwagon because it's an absolute solid bourbon. It's not super strong. It's already watered down.
But all of them. All of them.
Yeah,
the whole family of them. We
Yeah,
haven't tried one yet that we didn't love.
We have we have go up to all their bourbons, Mr. Producer. We have
The Alabama one's amazing.
the Alabama whiskey is really good. We like the red label and the black label. We've got that, which is tasty.
Damn, that looks. Yeah, that's Alabama style. That's
we
a
have,
great one.
We have that one, which is 110 proof.
You guys are killing me.
I know it.
We have that one.
Yep.
yeah, that's good.
The black label,
Jesus.
Which
13
is
years.
really good. Yeah.
Guys, you can't go wrong with Clyde Mays. Period.
No.
Yeah. We do not have that.
My
Straight
first experience with it, I'm loving it,
Okay,
and
that's
I'm not
green.
even a bourbon drinker.
That was interesting. That
It's
was a
so
green
good.
label. That was a green label rye whiskey. So go back to that, the green label, because I'm it's becoming a little more crystallized in my mind. Straight rye whiskey. Notice there's no bourbon, which means it's not 51% corn. It's
No.
probably it's more than 50% rye. So anyway, that's interesting. You know why that's confusing? Is because the normal mash bill of a bourbon is rye.
But at a smaller percentage.
Correct.
If you're at 20%, that's considered a high rye. Right?
Correct. But you see the confusing thing about that. People are like a rye whiskey, a rye bourbon, a rye this, a
Well,
rye
you
that.
have you have a rye bourbon, you have a wheated bourbon.
Yes.
And you have a 4-grain bourbon.
Which is all right, which is barley, corn, rye, and wheat.
I'm so useless in this conversation.
No, but this is it's very confusing because there are high rye bourbons, right? We just tried one earlier today, right? That was Pinhook was a high rye bourbon,
Correct.
right? Meaning it's still 51% corn, but it's got a percentage of rye that's higher than normal. That's higher than typical.
Right.
But remember, a straight Kentucky bourbon is it's always actually rye. It's barley, rye, and corn,
Correct.
right? And then when they substitute wheat for rye, now you have a wheated bourbon.
Makes it a little bit more smooth on the palate for some folk. You know, actually,
The wheat, you mean?
the wheat is yes, absolutely. In fact, that's what Bob Pallet is that his name? Bob from
Pettit.
Pettit.
From 1845 Distillery said is that most folk that enjoy bourbons, as far as like newbies, their palates enjoy wheated bourbons because it's easier on it.
Oh,
and it's like the more refined
It's,
bourbons are folk that have been tasting it for a while.
It's sweeter.
And they can handle the rye because it's kind of like just like anything. You become a little bit more tolerant of it, and you start to pick up different notes. And Ryan, you're falling in suit of exactly that. You know, you're picking up something that you like.
I'm telling you, I enjoy it. I enjoyed this.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
I think the first time I was on the podcast, I had the Buffalo Trace, and I enjoyed that one. That was really sweet.
It's a good one. It's a
Yeah,
good
that's
one.
another good one.
A lot of vanilla in there, really, really sweet. And I know you guys are like more educated when it comes to like bourbon and whiskeys than I am in this. You like the first one, but I did like this Clyde Mays. This is
I'm
very
a
enjoyable.
steward and a small yay.
Yeah, no. You can't go wrong.
Me caveman, me like drink.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't go wrong with the Clyde Mays. family of bourbons and whiskeys. All right. All right. So
agree.
let's move on to something else.
Well, I'll tell you what. I got to talk about an event that's coming up this weekend in downtown McKinney, Texas. They've got the Oktoberfest, which
Is that this weekend?
Really?
Yes, it
It
is.
is this
Friday,
weekend.
Saturday, and Sunday.
September
And I have
22nd,
nothing
23rd,
to
and
do this
24th.
weekend.
Oh.
You
I
should
do
come
now.
down.
So, folks
I
out
do
there,
now.
it's got free admission. Friday, it's from 5 to 11 p.m. Saturday, I will be out at Filtered Coffee Shop.
I heard that place is awesome.
It is awesome.
I
It
heard
is
it's
awesome.
mismanaged.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy who told you that.
So I'll be out at Filtered downtown McKinney, Texas, and I will be wearing my lederhosen, and I'll be serving beer at our beer garden.
Is that your tactical skirt?
No, it's
How does
my
your lederhosen
lederhosen.
fit?
It fits swimmingly well. Last year it was rather loose. This year it fits perfect.
It made
sits
my
on-
balls hot.
Oh, good. So you grew into it.
Oh yes, I absolutely grew into it. I'm not proud to say it, but put your lederhosen on and join us for a full weekend of German themed fun in
So-
historic downtown McKinney.
That would be so much fun. I'm
Enjoy-
in. I have
It
nothing,
really is.
I have
It's
nothing
awesome.
to do this weekend.
It's
Enjoy
awesome.
the tradition of authentic German food, domestic and imported beers, live music, games, and much
Okay, so
more.
I have a question.
Okay. Go.
There's a stage right outside Filtered again, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Do they have?
I
what
have
kind of
no
music?
idea the lineup, and if they have,
Can you not control that?
you know what?
No.
Hold on. Why are you
They
asking?
had a jazz band
Because last year they had an acapella fucking jazz band like boom boom doom da da boom 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 da 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 dum bum 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 dum ah, yeah, yeah.
Boom, boom. Yes.
That was the total Boyz II Men moment. I loved it.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know
how
what,
is
the
that
thing
jazz?
is-
That's not jazz.
But
Is
I'm
it
just
jazz?
saying it was completely ungermane to Oktoberfest.
It wasn't like it wasn't polka. It
No, it was not. It was-
was.
It was like fusion jazz.
I don't want her. You can have her.
She's
She's too fat for me.
Oh
Oh my God!
You're
That just happened.
Dad used to sing that to Mom. Remember?
oh shit
At
just
the
got weird.
exact same time, we pull out the "She's
That
too
was
fat for
weird.
me"
She's
polka.
too fat for me.
Okay, we should end the podcast right now.
Well, get ready for the upcoming weekend Oktoberfest exciting news. Again, it continues to be ticketless. So, look, seriously, guys, I'll be out there in my lederhosen. Right?
And I'm going to let you know right now. If you do stop by Filtered, I know it's not in the German tradition of Oktoberfest, but we do have a
Bud Light?
rare treat of having some. We have a Caribbean cook that will be cooking some Caribbean cuisine all weekend
Oh, yeah,
long.
a little
No.
And we'll be
Oh.
serving that
Some
out the
jerk?
second service window. It's going to be awesome. Her name is CJ. CJ's Kitchen.
Oh, the second one. So that'll be right there.
Dude,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna be
right there.
She'll be serving right through me.
Ooh.
Well, actually,
Oh.
I think I'm going to have you on the other side.
through you.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm going to have you on the.
gonna be
I'm going to have you on
kinda
the bar
weird.
window
We're
side.
gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah, but her food is super super delicious. Like
So is
sinfully
it
delicious.
tacos? Is it?
She does everything. She's got something called like rasta pasta with like chicken curry meatballs. She has like
Shredded
she
balls?
does like
I could eat like 1,000
oxtail.
of those.
Dude, like if you've never had like Caribbean style oxtail and teriyaki,
I
like,
have.
oh my god, dude!
I've had
like,
Cuban oxtail.
Dude, it was so delicious. I gnawed the cartilage off the fucking bone. It was so good. She does like shrimp tacos, shredded beef tacos.
I'm in.
She's very, very, very delicious.
So
food.
is this the same type of deal where you can like bring your own cooler with your own drinks and you can walk around with
well,
your
McKinney
own?
is an open container area where you can literally purchase an alcoholic beverage from one place and just walk up and down the street. The way that 6th Street in
But
Austin
you
used to
can't.
be.
You can't bring your cooler and make your own drink.
No, you can't.
No.
Well, hold on.
Well,
you talking about bourbon?
well, I mean, we do technically have a BOB.
No, hold on.
BYOB.
So outside in the alley, I think you can. You can walk around with a bourbon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
no,
yes,
you are correct
The,
in that.
the answer
yes.
is yes. You can bring your own cooler. You can put a little bottle of.
But I'm trying to get Sean to shut the fuck up so that he could buy liquor from us.
Oh.
well, I'm not drinking one of my.
Buy
hold on,
beer
you-
from
You
us.
don't have bourbon. I'm
No,
drinking.
we don't. We don't have liquor. So
There
that
you
was
go.
like, no,
The
we have
Alf
delicious
Getz-
beer and
Alf Getz
wine.
musicians are classically trained professionals, some with advanced degrees, who have been playing for 20 years. We love making them smile. This is the Alf
This is
Getz
a
are
happy
gonna be
look.
out
Look at
there.
that guy in the corner. That old dude right there.
like,
That
yeah,
is
look
a happy, disturbed-looking
Look
guy.
at me.
Very
Nice.
disturbed.
He's like,
Come a little
"Hey!"
closer. Let me walk towards the showers.
That guy at the
Breathe
bottom
it
looks
all
like he just
in.
smoked a bunch of crack. Look at his eyes.
So the Oktoberfest downtown McKinney. I keep beating this up, but just join us down there. I'll be out there Saturday all day serving beers out in front of Filtered. I'll have my official lederhosen on. Jeff will be showing up at some point. We don't know how long. And Paul eventually will get out there.
No, I'm going to be there. I'm excited.
So Ryan's going to be. I'm excited because for us, it's dudes like us outing, and we get to have a little bit of fun. I don't plan on really drinking a whole lot until the end of the day. But I'm looking forward to it. They got all kinds of music.
Here,
You were 3 bottles of tequila in by the time I got there last
Yeah,
week.
well, that
Jeff,
Scott
write that down. I'm not planning on drinking all that much. I just want that noted for the record.
I meant
I'm going to
before
Google
6.
Calendar that shit.
Right.
But anyways, Octoberfest downtown McKinney. So what else we got going on? We had like tons of information or tons of topics we were talking about.
Well, I briefly, I don't know if did we talk about this in the first half, the whole Lauren Boebert thing. I was just reading some news.
The manhandling in the movie theater.
Yeah, so there's some new theories out there that whole thing was a setup to kind of, because there's some footage of her walking with this guy after the fact. She
A setup from what side? Like,
well, apparently the guy was a Democrat, and she's like, I need to
expand her vaginal horizons.
Correct, or whatever, something like that, right? So, but there's new footage of her like she's drunk, right? And
so he drugged her.
Well, I don't know if he
Drugging
drugged
up
her.
the fucking Democrat.
Wow.
But the new theories floating around now is this was a setup
Stop it.
to get this kind of footage from her, right? So
meaning to slander her and bring her
Correct.
down.
Correct.
Oh, the left
That's
hates
pretty
her.
great, man.
They hate her.
So we'll see if that goes anywhere. Again, I just read that. I don't know the validity of that, but that's kind of a
if
new
that is
theory.
even
Do
true.
you think
man,
that'll ruin his career or her career?
Well, no one knows who he is.
It's not a matter of ruining. It's what a shitty, conniving, calculated.
100%. I was trying to be
So
stupid.
we didn't talk about exactly what happened. Did we? She went to Beetlejuice.
She went to a
And she was,
musical.
got felt
she
up,
got groped up by
giggled.
her
Well,
boyfriend.
hold on.
They videotaped it.
I didn't even know about any of that until tonight.
Right.
What I
Me
did
neither.
know is that
That she
people were
performed anal.
complaining. People were complaining about how much noise she was making, and she became disruptive. And then multiple times people complained, and the people that worked there had to come down and talk to her.
He found her spot.
I mean, anyway,
Gee.
I didn't hear about any about that. I heard 100% that she was kicked out of there.
Oh, it's okay for her. It's okay. What are you saying? She can't be allowed in a movie theater?
Well, I mean, generally, when you're at a play,
Well, because we know if she was like jerking him off, he'd be like,
Is that what you sound like?
Is that?
wow,
Well, for one thing, this was not a movie theater. And there's
different rules when you're at a play.
this was at a musical.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Do they have a dress code there? Can Fetterman show up?
you can be naked.
It's typically the nude Beetlejuice. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes, and if it was a setup, I don't know. Again, I don't know, but that's kind of the theory.
would
You know, the
surprise me.
sad thing is, realistically, we're all joking around, but here's the realistic thing about it. Like, we really don't fucking know. Like, the way that
don't know.
politics and media and propaganda
Correct.
works, we really have no fucking clue if this was, like, something that was engineered for whatever reasons,
The whole
or
night,
if it was on the fly.
the whole night vision camera thing could be totally artificially intelligent.
Well, what gets
Like,
me is
artificially and created.
that night vision camera seemed to be on her.
Right, which means it was a setup.
Right.
Yeah.
Did he have a pinky ring?
Which means he was in on it.
It was German.
Think about it. Which means
Correct.
he was in on it,
Correct.
and then he was very aggressively groping her.
Oh yeah, he was hardcore groping those boobs, like big time.
And clearly she didn't mind.
To
No,
me,
she didn't.
To me, that's a setup.
She didn't. Like if we were sitting there and some attractive woman was all of a sudden started feeling your junk up, we'd be like, "Oh no, you can't do that." Oh.
Stop.
Okay.
Yes.
Bill Burr says
What?
it the best.
You missed it. You missed it, Sean. That was another why we don't have video moment.
That's Bill Burr.
It was awful.
Until you read it in court. No, she said stop. No, stop.
No.
That's
Don't.
not how she fucking said it. I love Bill Burr.
Don't stop. Don't stop.
What were we going to talk about? AOC being booed down?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, she was in New York City. Well, first of all, a shout out to the shout out to all the buses that are heading to all the blue cities with all these folks coming up from the south.
Yeah, that now
know?
they know how the border towns feel. They sit there and literally, and this is how I feel about that. is like when you live in the northern half of America.
It's not your problem.
No, it's not your problem. It's just like, oh, I don't care about like the who cares about the migrants coming down? And then you sit there and you give them a fraction of what our border towns and cities and states are going through, and you give them a fraction of that, and they lose their fucking minds.
Yeah.
And they're like, we can't deal with this.
Oh, and
really? Because you think that it's okay for us to be dealing with it, and you have a fraction of what we're dealing with.
And what's crazy is they're like calling state of emergency.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're
like all hell
and
is
they're
breaking
calling
loose.
up the
We
National
need more
Guard.
money. We need more money.
They're calling up
Yeah,
the
we need
national
money.
They're calling up the National Guard. So what is happening in the southern states to where we're not hearing about state of emergency and National Guard? How are they handling it?
They're shipped off to Epstein Island.
Well, did you? I sent a story today, and we've talked about this, right? There's a place down outside of Houston called the Colony.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, where they did the shooting. The
Well,
murders
that
out
happened there, but it's housing 50 to 70,000 illegal immigrants. It's basically
Which is
city.
what comes across the border in one day from
Right.
Texas.
So there's a developer who is building this housing development, this whole neighborhood, almost a city, down there outside of Houston in the country land, right? So he's building this neighborhood, and the illegals are living there.
Right. But to your point,
50 to 70,000 of them.
But to your point, Brian,
And the
I mean,
cartels
it's still
control it.
It's a drop in the bucket.
Fraction
So
of what they're getting.
New
I
York,
mean,
New
what
York,
they're getting is a
New
fraction of what
York
we
is
have.
freaking out. Chicago's freaking out of just like a couple. I don't know how
Like
many
losing it.
dozens of buses. I don't know how many people we're talking about. But where are all these people going, and how are they not creating a humanitarian catastrophe wherever they go?
No, and it's amazing how fast some of these people are just like, we should just let them all in unvetted. Let them all in. They can. We'll support them. We'll give them places to live.
I get
and
it.
then we send them to their towns, and they're like, holy shit, why are you sending them up here?
Right.
We were saying you should stay down there
Right.
where you're not our problem.
Well, Biden is trying to pass a law that says if you come across the border, you have to stay in Texas. He's trying to pass some.
Oh yeah, and Greg Abbott's
legislation.
like,
What?
yeah, no,
Yes.
you can f
Fuck
yourself.
that and fuck him.
Yeah.
Right.
And they want a ankle
With
bracelet
all
them,
fists.
so they could track them to say you need to stay in Texas until you're
Or what?
hearing.
Or
and,
what?
And I want to make it clear, like I'm
Right.
I'm not against like immigrants coming in. Like my wife is Hispanic. My wife's father got his citizenship. He lived in Mexico and became a United States citizen by joining the United States military
Beautiful,
back in the 70s.
love it, love it, love it.
My mother-in-law waited for my father-in-law to get out of the army after he did his term and brought her over and married her. She's
Love
from
it.
Juarez, Mexico, and that's my in-laws. So I'm not against Hispanics. I'm not against immigration of any kind, but there has to be something done about a vetted immigration policy,
legal, like
where you
immigration.
come
Correct.
across through legal portals.
right.
And when you bring in when mass exodus from one country into another, you cannot handle that. You
There were
can't handle that
motherfuckers on a
financial
train
status.
on a video this morning on the news.
I saw that.
Train where you have
Train.
2,000 people. I mean,
It's fucking insane.
it's out of control.
I don't understand.
And you know
I just
what the
don't
fuck?
understand.
What the fuck?
Everybody knows it's happening, and why can't we stop it? I don't understand. Why does Biden have the power to say no?
It's
Well,
frustrating.
Well, didn't Biden? I know he told Arizona to say you need to remove those containers.
Right.
Did he also do the same thing to Abbott's
River thing.
buoys? I think he did.
They're trying to. Yeah, they're
I
trying
think
to.
either he did or he's trying to say you can't do that for whatever reason.
So why can't? Okay, given that we are no longer a nation of laws, why can't Abbott say "fuck you"? I'm not removing it, and send the federal people down, and I will put my state troopers on the. I mean, let's go to fucking war.
Well, let's take it back to the
I mean,
90s
what the fuck is
when
going
Mr.
on here?
Bill Clinton said,
1845.
we are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws.
I know,
And
but we aren't now.
somehow
We aren't now.
That has been thrown out the fucking window.
We aren't now. So why can't the states stand up to the federal government? And I mean like,
Because the federal government
And
is
I mean
more
put peop-
Democrat than it is
and I'm talking about
Republican, and
putting
Republicans
people
are more
on the
for state
ground.
power, and Democrats are more for federal
but I'm
power.
talking about putting people on the ground to challenge the federal officers or whoever the fuck's standing there to say,
Kind of
do
like
it.
they like for example,
It's time to do this.
to provide support. What you're saying, Paul, the people in California that grow pot, okay,
Right.
The federal government came in and they were like, you can't do that, and California was like, fuck you,
Right.
we're our own state. You can go fuck yourself. We're going to sell pot all we want.
Right.
And they came in and they did some shenanigans inside some of these dispensaries. And then about a couple months later, they were like, yeah, you don't have any authority here. Get the fuck out of here.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, it's because there's only two republics in America, California and Texas.
Well, it doesn't matter. But
Well, republics are the only ones that can legally secede.
any
Not
state,
saying,
any state can put up a fight against the federal government.
but that's what I'm saying. When you have you have California that has they have the, as far as the West Coast goes, they are the import state for all goods coming in from
Correct.
Yeah, you're talking about trade. All the ports of harbor that go all up and down the West Coast,
Meaning they have
90% of them are in California.
They have clout.
Exactly. Up until like a few years ago, California was the richest state in the United States, where they legally could have seceded from the United States of America. But of course, you have people like Newsom.
Well, they're sucking too much on the government teat to be able to separate themselves.
And,
Dude,
well,
they-
not
the-
only
the
that,
debt-
they're
they're
a
taxing.
bankrupt state.
They're taxing their businesses there to the point where they had the exodus and everybody came to Texas,
Yeah, well.
and so now they don't have that cloud anymore.
Yeah, but their debt is absolutely astronomical. California's debt is
which
astronomical.
is why they continue to raise taxes.
They
That's
are
what I'm
actually.
saying.
I would say they're probably the
Their
poorest.
money
the
went
poorest
from,
state in
well,
the nation.
now they are big. Well, I wouldn't say the poorest, but I what I'm saying is before they had both tax money and they had import money coming in
Right.
from ports, and now you have all the big corporations and businesses that were located out there. Now, because of overtaxation of those businesses, the majority of them fled that state. And so
Yeah.
now all they have is
their
their
tax.
import
their
shit and
tax
taxes.
revenue is plummeting.
Oh, dude, it's insane how far they've gone down.
It's going to continue to go down as well because of
Right.
the shit they continue to pass. And
Absolutely.
look at the lawlessness out there and the amount of just bullshit that happens. And we talked earlier about how the elites, the Hollywoods, not just them, but they're
leaving in droves.
exiting California because, I mean, even though they voted for that shit probably, well, we don't know, but they don't want to raise their families in that. And
No.
they don't want to live in that
but
anymore.
but
Everybody wants to be the good guy until they walk outside with their family to take their kids to school,
And get
and
whacked.
there's a flock of homeless people smoking.
so
Dope
I'm
and
gonna
shitting
I'm
in
gonna
the
doing
create,
drugs
to
and
create
shit,
something
and
that
attacking them and breaking
in
into their
Germany, for
cars.
example, there's this video. This young girl put on a YouTube video. This is like 5-6 years ago, maybe even longer, where there were a bunch of there were Muslims, but whatever, that doesn't matter. So this is in Germany. So immigrants are coming in. She's going down to the corner store, and they're hooting and hollering, saying, "Where's your?" They have a specific word for your guardian, or why are you walking
Yes.
out alone without being accompanied by a man?
That
you know?
is Sharia law.
Yeah. So they're giving her a hard time about that. Look, I'm not saying that's happening here. I mean, they're trying to make it happen here. They're trying to pass Sharia law here. But there's the people coming over the border now are Chinese nationalists. I mean, they're
they're-
thousands of them.
They're
Yes.
they're
Thousands
everything.
of them.
Yes.
Everything.
We have people coming up that are wanted terrorists on the terrorist watch group. I mean, how?
It's insane.
Even if they're
What
not on the list.
Fuck.
Yes.
What the fuck? And
Right.
even though President Obama was like, we can't have people coming up into our country unchecked.
Do you know what's crazy is I saw this clip on I know it's stupid to say, but like on YouTube, where even like the chick, one of the chicks on The View, which I can't stand that fucking toxic show, even one of the chicks on The View was just like, hey, like this shit's getting out of hand when it comes to like, she was referring to like when she lived in Florida and all the Cubans were coming over into Miami, and she's like, it was only back then like
Sarah
100,000 people, and it created an incredible issue for the state of Florida, let alone the citizens of Miami. And we have 100 times that amount coming in all throughout the southern border. And now we're just like, well, what the shit? Like, what are we going to do now?
So, okay, so let's, I know this is a fruitless maybe effort, but okay, so the people that are controlling the border right now is the border security, right? The Border Patrol.
Border Patrol, yes.
And that is a federal agency.
Correct.
So
federal agencies.
So there's our problem. So Texas, Arizona, California,
New Mexico,
they're helpless because the people owning, controlling, patrolling the border is all a federal agency. So it's not like
Yeah, they're not doing the job. They're not staffing it correctly.
I know, but
they're not putting the wall up.
And
I
as
agree.
somebody who lived on the border, I can tell you a lot of those federal agents feel the same way. A lot of
no.
those border
yeah.
patrol, they know they're understaffed, they're overworked, they're under so much pressure,
Yes.
and it's not fair to them either.
Completely not.
And they're committing
they're not
suicide.
bad people. No, they're not bad people. They want the right thing. They want the right thing for
Absolutely.
their country. So, but I'm
They've
just
got a lot
thinking,
of
what can
animosity.
Abbott do? So, Abbott can't call up like a Texas National Guard or militia and go down to the border and tell the Border Patrol to stand down, and that that Texas is taking over its own the patrolling of its own border.
Because the federal
Maybe we
government.
should.
Maybe we
because
should.
the federal government, that's their responsibility.
So what
It
would
is.
happen?
It's
What
a-
would happen
it
It's
if
is.
a border control, so it is a federal. Yes,
It's
I
a
get it.
federally controlled border. It's not a state controlled
But
border.
having a little backup from militia wouldn't help.
But the federal government isn't doing it.
it's
Well,
not
there's
doing
a lot
it?
of backup
That's
for
the-
militias.
It's so
well, I'm saying it wouldn't.
frustrating.
I said it wouldn't help, but I meant to say it wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
but it'd be unprecedented.
There's things that
There's
like
growing animosity.
it is. There is, especially like again with the whole ATF thing and stuff like that. They're just like, what's going on? There is a
And who the hell are
talk.
they to provide this authority where they're starting to lay law? They don't have the authority to create law, but yet
You
they
don't
are.
live here. You don't even visit here.
Right.
Like they won't even visit here. They're getting their intel from like one or two people per city per office.
Right.
And that information's getting back to them. And yet they're still trying to make policies to regulate us
right.
here. And that's an issue. How can you make policy to regulate something that you have no idea what's really going on
And guess what?
outside of a fucking report?
And they're unelected.
Don't even get me started. We didn't even get on the whole fucking.
Wow, we got angry. We finished angry.
No. It's a self-realization.
everybody.
It's a self-realization of what's going on in life, and currently, right now, things are chaotic as hell.
They are.
They're chaotic as hell, and I don't know if it's because the older that we're getting, you start to sense it, you start to realize it, or is it just really getting out of hell?
Age has a lot to do with it, and it's very chaotic right now.
And you know what else it is? I hate this feeling of helplessness.
Yes.
That's the bottom
There's
line.
nothing more frustrating than knowing what's going on and you're helpless
Yeah,
to
these
do anything.
January 6th
Because
folks that
somebody's
are sitting
putting money in
the,
somebody's
the
pocket.
jail. Yeah. Oh my God. God bless. I did not want to talk about all this stuff here. We had
All right,
a great
so
night.
This weekend's going to be great, too.
It's going to be a great weekend.
lovely.
And we're going to report on it.
Yes,
next
we are.
Tuesday.
We'll do live shot, maybe. Little video, perhaps. We'll post on our Instagram, the Facebook page for Dudes Like Us, and Instagram Dudes Like
There you
Us.
go. Let's do that. We do a
There we
little.
go.
Maybe we'll do a little lives Instagram.
We
while
are
we're there.
on Spotify. We're on
Nice.
iTunes. We are on all kinds of crap. For Dudes Like Us, got to check us out. It's September 19th. It is late at night right now. We had a couple of setbacks here, but we're seasoned as hell. We have a special
yeah.
guest. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've got our
Yes.
producer
Thank
here,
you guys
Mr.
for having
Austin. Dudes Like Us, wrapping it up here. I'm Sean.
I'm Pablo.
I am Jeff.
And I am Ryan.